Hi everyone and welcome back to our Saving Christmas game series. In this series we're going through the creation of Saving Christmas, a game I released for free in the run up to Christmas. And here I am showing you exactly how to make it, along with all the assets I've used to make it. If you want to download those, you can find them in the description below. Prior to this episode, we've got it set up in a boss battle that has different phases to go through. Currently we've got boulders, and then there's snowballs, and there's icicles, all things that can damage the player. At the moment, none of these will damage the player. So in this episode we're going to do that, as well as make it so the player can damage the boss. So let's get started with what we set out to do first, which is getting the player hurt by all these various things. So currently the game already has some form of the player getting hurt from the goblin. And the goblin here does an event hit and does all this stuff. Okay, so what we can do here is just copy all that out, and I'm now going to apply that to all the things that need to damage the player. So if I go to a giant snowball, do event hit, and plug that in. Hit compile. Let's turn that off. Try to drag that back out. There you go. Compile, and apply damage also needs to be connected to the other. And I think that's all hooked up. Cool, so that's that all one done for the giant boulder. Next we're going to do is the icicle. And again we'll do a hit. And plug that in. Other into there. Other into there, delete the cooldown, compile, and plug cooldown at the end. Compile that again. So let's test that out. So I've got 3 hearts still. I get one taken away from me. Maybe get another one. There you go. Let's just wait for the next round. We haven't done the snowballs yet that he fires out to the player. Those will come. Let's test out the icicle. Try and get hit by one of these. There you go. I got hit by the icicle and it's taken away a heart. So what we need to do now is do the snowball one. So the snowball is going to work slightly differently. That's because the snowball is being used by the player as well as against the player. So we need to determine who's throwing the snowball, therefore to react accordingly to whoever gets hit by the snowball. So first we need to do is tell the snowball to have a variable. So in here we're going to add a variable called a thrower, and we're going to name that a actor. Okay. Now the reason why we have this rather than using an instigator is because our Frosty Snowman isn't a pawn. Okay, it's just an actor. So therefore instigator won't work for him. So what we're going to do in here is click on our sphere and do a begin overlap. We're going to choose add a component begin overlap. So when something overlaps this sphere, we want to check what the other actor is. If the other actor is not equal to the thrower, we want to carry on. Okay, so if the ball that's thrown by a Frosty hits Santa, it will carry on because they don't equal each other. So on the carrying on part, we're then going to get the code we've been doing for icicle and all the rest of it. So we're just going to copy all of this and put that into Snowball. This will go into the true. And the other actor for this will be in there like so. So this first part checks whether they match the thrower, and if they don't match the thrower, they then check if that equals the player character. If it does equal the player character, we're telling it to do this effect where we do the cooldown and so forth. Let's just get rid of the broken cooldown, replace it with the new one. And if it is the player, it'll do this. If it's not the player, that must mean it's hit Frosty, okay? Or if, at least we're going to check if it's equal to Frosty. So from other actor there, we're going to go cast to Frosty. And we want to tell it to be it's in the false. If it is in the false, we're going to tell Frosty to get the mesh. Yeah, skeletal mesh. And then tell it to play an animation. And the animation it's going to play is going to be the Frosty hurt. Hit compile. Oh, sorry, and then destroy this actor. Destroy actor. We also want to put destroy actor on the other overlap as well. So, destroy actor. And we also put destroy actor on the false here to make sure it is properly gone. Okay, so let's test this out. Hit play. And here we go. Avoid the snowballs or giant boulders, whatever you want to call them, as they roll across the map. Frosty then will spawn and commence his attack. Okay. And I should get it. Well, I don't yet. But if I throw that. The reason why it's not working is because we haven't set the thrower variable on a snowball. So we need to set that first of all. That might not hit to anything. So on the Santa, find the snowball actor here. And if we get compile on everyone, might have to re-add it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Thrower, I need to make sure it expose on spawn and editable. Compile. And let's change that back to none. Then to Snowball. And there's the thrower. It's now got a pin. And in there, we'll do a reference to self. Compile. Then we're going to go into Frosty. Find where you're spawning his snowballs, which is here. Again, you may have to go back to none and then back to Snowball to see the thrower option. Again, that's a reference to self. Compile. Let's see if that works. So off it goes. So at the moment, snowballs aren't spawning, and that's because I told it to destroy itself here. Which I want. Delete that. Okay. Great. Right, so now I throw snowballs. Okay, right, so off he goes, dodging the giant boulders. And then he'll spawn back up the ground. Do that. That bit still isn't working, but let's test out this, and that's not working either. Excellent. Has Frosty actually got any collisions on him? No, that would help. So we're going to go custom and tell it to block overlap everything except for projectiles. Okay. And we'll also block pawns. So projectile, pawn, click compile. Let's see how that works. Just play through the first phase, wait for him to spawn. Okay, so those snowballs don't hit me yet, but do mine. No, they're just going straight through, aren't they? Okay, let's see if I can at least walk into him. Maybe he spawns here. Okay, so still not got a collision on him. So what's happening there? Let's change his skeletal mesh here to block these 2 channels. And okay, let's test that out. No, I can still walk through him. Snow will still go through him. Okay, I'll pause for a second and I'll resume when I've figured out what the issue is. Right, apologies for that. Sorry for the wait. The issue was that I needed to set up the collision settings correctly on Frosty. So with the skeletal mesh selected, in the settings for the collision, I had to tick the generate overlap events and making sure it blocked everything except for projectile. I also made it also the object type of enemy pawn. That way when the snowball hits him, it's detected and does its thing. So with that done, we're going to the snowball. And on the snowball, we've done the overlap event. Okay, and the overlap event, we're going to check whether or not the other actor is equal to, or not equal to rather, the thrower variable. So not equal to the thrower into a branch. Now, if that is true, we're then going to go into this branch here, which is the same stuff we've been doing with the other traps as well, the icicles and the boulders. So I'm just going to move that up here and drag the other actor into here and the other actor into the apply damage. Hit compile, and now in phase 2, Santa will get hit by snowballs and lose health. So with that in mind, we've now got Santa taking damage. Next trick is to make it so that when the snowballs hit Frosty, he reacts accordingly too. So let's open up our snowball and take a look at that. So now we've got the snowball hurting Santa, we now want it so it can hurt Frosty. Now to do that, we're going to go back to our overlap and look at the second branch, which is the false coming off of this. So in other words, it is not the player character. We need to check whether or not it is Frosty. So we do that with a cast to Frosty. And the object for this is going to be the other actor. And if it is Frosty, it's going to come off the top pin here. And we're going to tell it to apply damage. The damaged actor is Frosty. And we're going to deal 0.05 damage to him. And once we've done that, we're going to head to destroy the snowball. Destroy actor. I'm then going to go over to my Frosty character. Add an event for any damage. And from there, we're going to simply just do a print string for now. And make it say damaged. Okay, so now if I push play, and I throw a snowball at Frosty, you can see it says now damaged. Throw another one. There you go. Cool. Okay, so that's looking pretty good there. Next thing we need to do is fix what's happening with the snowball on the Santa. So at the moment, Santa, a slight boo-boo here is that when he is hit by a snowball, we're doing this cooldown effect on the snowball. However, the snowball we just hit the Santa with is gone, so this cooldown doesn't really happen. So what we need to do is apply a cooldown instead on Santa. So to do that, we're going to go to Santa. And where we find him receiving damage, which is here. But on receive damage, we're going to do a little cooldown for this. Okay, so we're going to do once. And the reset for this is going to be a custom event for cooldown. And we make it do it exactly the same time. So it's at 2 seconds, then we call the cooldown event. So at the end here, we'll do delay by 2. And then call the cooldown. Hit compile. So in a Snowball now, we don't need the do once, just need the apply damage. And we don't need anything here apart from the destroy actor. Okay, we're going to click compile and let's test that out. So now I should get knocked back only once every 2 seconds. There you go, which is what I want. Okay, so in the next episode we're going to make the snowman Frosty do something different other than just print a string saying he'd been damaged. So we're going to work on the effects of damaging Frosty, and then we're going to hopefully try and wrap up Frosty's gameplay by making it actually take away health from his health, and then the UI for his health bar. Thanks very much for watching. We're approaching the end of this, and it's been an exhausting couple of weeks making all this. So thank you for sticking it out, and hopefully you found this interesting and enjoyable. Thank you for watching, and big thank you to all my patrons for their support. I wouldn't be doing this without you guys, so big shout out and thank you to all of you. Anyway, that's enough for me. Have a good night, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.